what is heavier or bigger, mRNA or the protein it codes for? And we also had some options, mRNA, protein, roughly the same, or it depends. So who's voting for the mRNA? Who's voting for the protein? Who's voting for roughly the same? Depends. Okay, so we're starting to lose the it depends answer, but it's fine as well. Okay, so how do we approach it? So I guess, how do we break the problem into parts? What do we need to know? Right, so we want to think about, say, mRNA and protein. And we want to think about, what they're made of and what would be their weight or size. Okay, so what are mRNAs? What are proteins made of? Yeah, so this is, I think, ribonucleic acid is the full name. And protein, amino acids. Okay, and those who are not that familiar with all of those components, not to worry, come to us later. We'll give you like a good chapter in some book, and you'll be going through this without much hurdles. Okay, so we talked about this last time. Anybody remembers what we arrived at in terms of, say, weight? 110. Again? 110. So I remember only the 10, but 10 to the 2 Dalton. Okay, so it's like 100 hydrogen atoms per amino acid. Okay, now what about the mRNA? How do I think about the weight of the components within mRNA? So again, you might know that by heart, or you've learned it biochemistry at some point, but I'm trying to see how we could derive things from, like, as little information as possible. Like, go to the basic components. So yeah, so maybe, yeah, so looking at the name helps. So we have this thing, which is ribose, which is what? Ribose is, yeah, so this is a sugar. Yeah, with 5 carbons. Okay, that's already a lot to know. We could talk about in a minute. What else do we have here? So we have like a base, which we could talk about in a minute. Anything else in this? Yeah, so we need to connect them somehow. So there's also some phosphates here. Okay, so these are the 3 components that build this building block. Let's try to get at the weight of what's happening here. So we have the sugar, which is roughly something like that, some ring, but it doesn't have to be a ring. We said 5 carbon. So what's the weight of each carbon? 12. So that's 12 Dalton. So altogether, I'm multiplying this, and probably there's some other things lying around, right? Some oxygen here and there, or hydrogen. So altogether, I would say I have, say, 5 of these 12s and another 5 of the oxygen, and some number of the hydrogens. Altogether would bring me to about 100. Okay, I'm doing it order of magnitude. Okay, what about the base? So, yeah, so there's all these names, purines and pyrimidines, and Watson and Crick solved how it's all being done with the A, P, G, and C. So I don't remember much about it, but there's some nitrogens there, some carbons there, some oxygens there, probably a few of each. And the weight of each one is somewhere between 10 and to 20 Dalton. So altogether, this again would sum up to about 100 Dalton, or 10 to the 2. And finally, I have these phosphates. How many? I think there's like, there's ATP, ADP.
Yeah, but if it's in mRNA, there's one.
In mRNA, so I don't even remember. So there's only one?
Yeah.
Okay, and how much is the weight of each one? Yeah, so I think it's somewhere around 30 Dalton per phosphate. And then it sits with some oxygens associated with it, etc. So on the order of about 100 Dalton also for this. So roughly I have a few hundreds of Daltons. So if here I had 100 Daltons, all of this thing together would be few times 100 Dalton. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere between 300 and 400 Daltons. So we have a factor of about 3. A factor of a few. Is that it? What else? Okay, so this was just about looking at the component, but now there's another factor here that's lying in, which in order to make one amino acid, I need a few ribonucleic acids, right? Not just a few, 3. Okay, so I had a factor of few from here and another factor of 3 from here. So altogether I have like an order of magnitude difference between the weight of this and the weight of that. Okay, so we're definitely in this situation.